How's this going for you?
Good, Baruch Hashem. I actually did some chazara on Friday, on Friday night.
Good for you.
Try to get a little better at some of this. This last parak is a little bit more difficult.
You mean what we're going through now, which is Sharakudim? Or
Yeah,
this, okay? Well, I want you to stop me if there's a place where it doesn't make sense to you or where you see that the string of thoughts that you have a problem with it. So, I'm just going to fly through this because you can learn pretty fast. You're a pretty fast learner. So we'll see how this goes. So we're on page now, Lamed Aleph. And Lamed Aleph
yep,
says, what we're going to do here is when he's bar atam lama hiskel, akasav rak ba'olam hakudim. So we had akudim, nekudim, and barudim. What pshat nekudim? Why start with that? So the Rab writes, so let's see how I can start this. This is number Zion. I guess we could read in the column.
yeah.
We'll read the column. The column said, V'hiske b'rakudim, let's start with that, ki hema oros hayotzim min hapeh shel ak. Asher bechem hiskil gilui havayis hakelim. This is where this starts. L'hiyos asara oros elu penimim. These are lights, inside lights, he said, and makifim, but also makifim, mechubarim and mekusharim yachad b'soch kli echad. This is a case where these two come together. Asher the sibazu, that for this reason, he says, nikra akudim. They're called akudim for this, with the lashon binding. Belashon v'ya'akod as Yitzchak beno, they bound him up, or Abraham bound him up. Rotza lomer v'yikshor kamo shenizvoyer be'ez Hashem. That's going to be in the Nekudim, in the first parak of Nekudim, but we're not in Nekudim here, we're in Akudim. So I said, L'chorech, oh, you mock. Let me get a little more drink here, my voice is.
Sure.
So he says, L'chorech, so let's just go over that again. He says, Ma hisker akasav. There's the mouth, there's the lights of the mouth. There's also something, the lights of the eyes, which we have not discussed. Bilvad and nikraim akudim, nikudim berudim. So also there's going to be berudim in there. I think that he say oros hapeh v'anayim bilvad. The berudim come out of the forehead. Ve'elo oros ha'ozen v'hahotim shafheim yatzer ma'ak lo chusk b'pesukim, but they're not mentioned. V'hayisha the zehu is what shebetayra nichtav rak v'olamos sheyesh b'chem kelim. So we're only talking about kelim here now. V'kevin sheba oros ha'ozen v'hahotim lo nishavu kelim, because they never came together. Lo nichdara b'torah inyanim, so we don't really get into any more detail about them. Avo oros hapeh da'ak, shesham nishavu b'chinas kelim, there we see kelim develop. Ki kol hatam shenikra hakudim b'fnei sha'oros kashurim yachad b'kli echad. V'chomoshe ne'emar, it says like this, v'yakod is Yitzchak b'no, shehu lashon keshira, v'chein lo nichtav b'torah rak oros hapeh v'oros sheyatzach b'derek ha'anayim. So we're only talking about that. And then he mentions here, and also the metzach, shagam b'chem koyah b'chinas kelim. So don't worry about the fact that you don't know anything about the lights from the eyes or the lights from the forehead. That's for later on. So like he says, he drops in something.
Meaning, so akudim, brudim, and nekudim are all types that have kalim to them.
That's true. This is the beginning of it. So the first one, the answer to the question is why start with this one, why not the others? Because this is where the first place is where we see the concept of some binding into a kli. So he says, this is, let's see, they call him, let's see, they got his name in here, don't they? Shemin. I think it's up above. Let me see where it says number Ches. The Shemin, who is Shlomo Malko Nero. That's what it sounds. Shlomo Malko was a traveler, I think. Apparently, he was a Kabbalist. So the Shemin Pirush ki Kalim came to Bechinas Osius. Now he wants to add this light in. What are Kalim? Kalim are letters. The Kevin Sheba Oras Ozen Chotim, the lights of the ears and the lights of the nose. Lo Nizgala Bechinas Kli. There's no Kli there. So therefore the Torah will not reference them. Now, this is to tell you something about the Torah's written letters. They're letters. So inside of the letters is some kind of a concept of a kli. So he's a more to be seen about that.
We did have before when we spoke about the iris of the ears and the nose, we did, and the mouth also. We did have like kind of remuzim to letters, right?
Oh, so when we talked about that's right. This would be the first place where they would possibly appear. But nonetheless, they're not in a low enough place where they have to add some solidity to them that actually makes them into kalim, because they don't meet. Even though that we know that in those places that you have some remez, like you said, to the letters, particularly the hey, which comes from the ears, and then you had it broken down into the dalet and the vav.
The vav and the dalet.
Yeah. Right. He says that there's a remez to them. But the actual appearance of kalim is going to be in a lower place, which is in the mouth. So he says let's skip the parenthesis. tam shelo nichtach b'torah rak oros sheyesh lechem kalim. So that's what's happening. Adam rotza legalos ezer ra'ayon o muskal. A person has an idea or something he wants to say to someone else. Yesh lo b'machshavto, and he has it in his mind. Those are the minds we're saying is an extremely high level, a very non-physical level, but it's very much a part of us. So you want to talk about it, then you have to transfer it in some way from the mind into some physical form, which will take letters. So below osios, and without letters, lahotzia es machshavdos, is not possible to actually bring out a thought. So this is maybe a remiss to the idea that what we're dealing with is also the thought of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which we're not saying that he has, that the Ein Sof is a thought, but there is a mind that is generated out of it. V'legoloso l'cherim ba'ofen she'or haseichel nichnas and is lavish b'socha osios. The light comes out, clothed in the osios. Hamizgalos b'dibur u'b'ksiva. So explaining it.
This is like he's talking about like like if I'm talking to you now, I'm saying words that are made up of letters.
Right, exactly. That's what
even though in my mind it might not exist in that way. But in order to say it to you, I can't shoot the whatever thought process in my head over. So I have to say it. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, and he's saying that what you're actually doing is you're performing, and he's going to say in other places, a process of a tzimtzum, of taking something which is non-physical, which is a thought, and being able to transfer it into something that's communicable because we have a common set of letters together, set of sounds and lights. This whole tzimtzumim of being able to make it fit into something that works. So here you're at the very beginning of this, and that's what he's talking about. Nimsashah kli hu soy. It's a medium, or I say an interface. Sha'al yado efshar legalos es or hamupshat l'chutz, which is spreading outwards. B'kedei sheyuchul acherim lachavinu. V'hine rabbeoros al yonim hem ka'ayin machshav daka. He's saying nicely. B'shetes ad ma'od, and it's very, very, very plain. Shalarov ha'almusa efshar legalosu efilu bedibor. So it could be so high up that you can't get it down to a place where it has more physicality. So this is a concept of a light that is coming from a veil. Let's say he calls it an or elyon, which is say mind or thought, and be able to get it into a place that somebody else hears about it. So that requires letters. They're very hidden below shayach la'alvisha b'kli sheyod nitin the kablam v'lachasikum lo nichta v'be'osios haTorah. So we're not going to find references to them in the letters of the Torah. Remember, the Torah is based on letters, so we have letters. That's where the revelation takes place. These ideas are that is the light of the ears of Ak and of the nose are panimi to the letters, so they come before the letters. Masha ein kain oros akudim nekudim berudim Shehem oros hapeh v'ranayim v'rametzach. She'ein ne'elomim kol kach. They're not so hidden like that. Shayach bechem bechinas kli, and now you can see a kli because a kli is like a medium that allows it to go, that allows the light that's up above, which is very, very transparent or very thin, what would you say, very non-physical, to have some physics, to be lodged in something more physical like a letter. So therefore you see them referenced in the Torah. They don't even talk about that in that pasuk where it talks about the kudim and barudim. Because there's no kli, you can't attach yourself to it in any way. So he says you're going to see this in Shar Nekudim and Barudim. He says Nivoyer Bechinas Anukudim Barudim, where of course we're going to get to that. About Oretz Ozen Vachotem. Now the lights that come out of the ears and the mouth. Heim Yoser Al Yonim Oretz Peh Varanayim Varamachmas Kusam V'Dakusam Ein Bechem Bechinas Osius. For the Chaim, so therefore, no Nisgala Ba'osius HaTorah. So therefore, in the letters of the Torah, we don't see this their reference there. Hare Nisbar Kan Inyan Olam Akudim Shehem Oros HaPeh Amispashtim B'Peh Da'ak, that come out of the mouth of Ak, Ad Tibur Shalo. And where do they wind up? They wind up, in other words, that light, that flow of light from the mouth of Ak spreads all the way down to the Tibur. Later on, we're going to talk about the Olam HaNekudim. Shehem Oros Sheyatza Derek Anayim V'Nishbaro. So now we're telling you something else. The lights that come out of the eyes, and we're going to go through a whole deal about that. They're going to break. That light is going to break. And where are they located? They're located from the Tibur of Ak, which we'll find out where that Tibur of Ak is and what it represents, and then going downwards from there. They spread across that way. Also the Olam HaBarudim. Shuhu Oretz HaMetzach, that come out of the forehead of Ak, Shemizgala Be'ez HaTikun, those are revealed. That's the concept of the Barudim. They're revealed at the time of the Tikkun. So first of all, we don't know what the Tikkun is yet. We don't know about the Shvira that he's talking about, but we will get to that. He his chaver oros hapenimim. So when you can join these lights, the lights penimim, and the oros mekibim tocha peh, this happens inside the mouth now because there's only one opening. V'chein b'tzeisim yachad mechutz the peh kashurim yachad. So therefore, when they're going out from the mouth, they're tied together. Hey makim b'bachim zeh, and they strike each other. Umivein hakol shalachem, and through that banging around, misyalid havayas bechinas kli. This causes the bechina of a kli. Hine noda ki b'kol prat yesh or makiv saviv a kli, vor penimir mislavish betoch a kli. And so we said that from the lights of the ear, we have lights coming out of the ear, the right ear. Yamim, they make the penimim. Ma'ozen small. Let me see whether I think I got this right. It comes out of the right ear, and the penimim comes out of the left ear. We saw that before. Small. There's only one opening. As they're going out from here, and this is the birth of the generation, or the, what's the right word? The beginning of the Kalim. Now he says this a cute little thing. He says that's why it's called Peh. Peh's Gematria 85. Peh Gematria is Sag, 63 plus 22. There's 22 letters. So now we're saying, he prefaced this by telling us that the letters are actually the Kalim. So he says that, so you have the Sag, because these are the lights of the Sag. This is the lower part of the Tamim, and it's also the concept of Sag, which is below, in other words, the area of the head at this point. And he says, and you put the 22 letters together with him. That makes the concept of peh. That's the peh of ak. Nisboyer she'oros achap heim oros desag. Now let's use a coining a phrase here, which we are going to use. That the lights of the ozen chot and peh are called achap. Heim oros desag. They're actually lights of sag. Va'ozen im he ola begematria sag. So if there were, and he says, by the way, that the year ozen, which is gematria 58, if you take the hay, which is visible here at this place, the only thing that's visible, and I've been trying to explain that the visibility is like this. The highest level, let's say it's completely white. In other words, it has no marks in it. It has nothing visible in it. But at the level of the ear, there is this hay that is visible there. So the hay combined with the word ear makes the number sag. So he talked about this. Let's skip the parenthesis, and he said, "V'chein chotim." That word by itself is gematria sag. V'ata mosif arav. Now the Vav is going to add on this idea, the vayr ki gam ha'oros hayotzim min eped ak. Also the lights that come out of the mouth of ak, heim oros the sag, they're the lights of sag. B'ofen shepeh hu begematria sag im kof beis osius sheim b'kelim. So now you have a sag here, but this is where you see kelim. Ki kachol sheminyan hagematria begoda v'holak, as the gematria gets bigger, Rome is the riboya or haku, then it means that there's more light there. So you have the combination of the light of the sag and the light of the letters. So it's interesting. He's saying as you go downwards, the gematria gets bigger. Because there's more gilui over there. And since they're becoming kalim now, which we said before, they're the tamim tachtonim of sag, lama hosiv the sag, or od kof base. So we say, well, it's sag. Why would you add another 22 onto it? Shehem kof base osios azem avoyer ravs, and the Rav is going to explain. Now there's a little piece over here where he says I looked at the Shefa Hachaim over here, which is down at the bottom. I don't think we really need to go and read it. But basically what it says is that in the mouth itself, that's not where they mix. They mix when they come out of the mouth. That's where the mixture takes place. That's basically what he says in this Shefa Hachaim. So then he goes on and he says, V'hine, Bechinas ha'osios, he makelim kanoida. So go back to that thought. Skip the parenthesis, and he said, and he wants to let you know that this is where the kalim start, but you have a sag here because it's part of the sag system, let's say, and then you have these 22 letters that are going to develop. The Ramaz al-Mashin is chadish b'makom hazeh. Inyan havayas kalim shenizgala b'kan al yedei kaf beis osius. So it explains. Because through letters you can reveal what a thought is. So once again we have the idea there is a thought here of the will of the Ein Sof, so to speak. We could call it thought of what it is at the Ein Sof level. It's not understandable, but it is manifest in thought. And then the thought is not worth anything or can't do anything unless you're able to produce kalim. That's basically the idea. So the same thing is about the upper worlds. That's the rule. So there, since we see that in this mouth, that's where you first begin to see the concept of letters. Because since it's part of the sag, which is the rosh over here, the ozen chotem peh, kam mispar kof base. So you're going to take the number of 22. Shemaram is al kelim yotzim merapeh. There's going to be 22 kelim according to this way he's saying it, or 22 parts of these kelim, something like that. Because I think in the kudim we're not going to see that, but we'll see something different. Kof base osius Torah. So this is the beginning, let's say, of the possibility of being able to manifest the 22 letters which will make up the Torah. V'kanizka the el shebe'oros hapeh yesh shnei inyanim nischadshu. Two things become renewed. Shaha'oros nisgalo kasara oros nifradim. So I just want to. It was a little confusing the way he said that we have 22 letters, and that combines to make the concept of a kli. So we're going to see how those 22 letters, but he wants to say that out of the mouth is going to come this galo. There's a revelation of the 10 lights. There are 10 lights. Shebe'oros hapeh nischava b'chinas kalim, and that's the second part. You're going to have kalim for those lights.
Meaning previously by like the Chaitim and the Eisen, he said that the bechina of the Asara Eres that comes out really come out only the remez. We could see that it's 10, but it's really not. You can't tell.
Yeah, good, very good, very good.
So by the peh, we're saying that it's not like that anymore. Now it's going to be like we'll be able to see that it's 10 Eres.
Right.
Does that have anything to do with the letters, the kalim that come out?
Well, I'm not sure. That's what's got me a little confused about the way that we're doing this. We're saying that this is where the origin of the 22 letters is over here. What's going to actually come out is 10 parts of one kli. That's actually how it's going to start. What they had to do with 22, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, because the 22 has to somehow fit into the 10. So that's the concept. We'll see more. We'll try to keep that question and see if we can work it out. So now you have these two concepts of light are going to appear here. So down from the face. So let's say you speak, your lights come out of and the ideas come out from your mouth. This is the main part of the light, which comes out of the mouth and goes down all the way to the tibur. But he wants to let you know, but it's also glowing around the sides. I use the word glowing. And everything that you have to say about a man is the same idea. Now this is what we talked about a little bit in Shartanta in the first parak. He wants to explain one thing. It's also explained over there in regards to the light of the ear. How is it, in fact, that the lights of the mouth, how it is that they spread? So where they go? That two different types of lights coming out of the mouth. But those lights actually glow all the way around him. The ikri, he calls it, the main part of that light, it only goes down on the face side. So then he says, but there is a shining or a glow in some way. ARI is not a light. It's like the concept of shining on something, that part which shines. So it's secondary in a way. So ARI is pashetes l'kolas adanish shemisaviv ha'ak. Motion is parish game. So it's explained like this: Gabe oras ozen v'chotim she'ikar meir b'derek ponim. So we saw the same idea over there. V'harasim, but on the other hand, there's a glow from them. Gam b'tzdadim v'ach. Is a hakdama l'havin. So he says that he wants to bring.
We never spoke really about what those iris tzadim are, right?
The words on the sides and the back. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm saying we just spoke about the main direction where the main light takes, but that glow we haven't really talked about like what that is or.
No,
right? Is that right?
He's not going to either. So let's go over here. But he wants to let you know that it shines in some way. It's mayor all the way around it. Now he has here something different he didn't have before. Let's see what he says. So let me tell you something so you can understand it better. So he says, where is this? It's Kdama Achrona Yud Zayin Beis, or whatever. But Maimer Pesach Eliyahu. So I have a shir, if you ever turn into my channel, on very deep understanding of what goes on at Pasach Eliyahu. In the Sephardi Siddur, there is I think do you daven Nusach Sfard?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the Nusach Sfard,
Yeah, I'm familiar with this.
Good. The Sephardim are makbid on this. They say the Pesach Eliyahu. The Pesach Eliyahu is a tremendous little piece there. So he said, "B'mayim Pesach Eliyahu." It's actually pronounced Pasach Eliyahu. Shechapechu b'bechinas Malchus. It's the concept of Malchus. You've heard the word Malchus Peh before. Be mecholokim as a rosh the es spheres pratir. So if you divide the head, which is something we do, or is done in other places, that the head actually has 10 spheres just to the head. And its aspect is like this. Shemekabelas is called Shefa, a spheres betocho. So it has all the Shefa that came from the hidden 10 in the ear, and the more manifest 10, which is in the mouth, in the nose rather. All of that, let's say at this stage, is going to wind up in the mouth. And the concept of malchus is the concept of a base kibble. It's a kli. But the mouth really doesn't have anything in it. Or ma'atzma doesn't have its own line. Now this may be an idea for a little later on, but I'm reading it anyway. So this is the case. This is the nature of femininity. The female is a base kibble, and she has no ability to be able to reproduce by herself. So therefore, she needs the male part, and this is basically what he's saying here. You can't get the letters out of it unless you bring all the shefa down into the mouth. So the peh, he's saying, has no light in it. So now you're going to see the lights of the ears, that where you see, okay, they come from the ears. But even so, that light, which originally came out, and the light of the right side, left side of the ears don't meet, and they don't do anything, they don't produce a kli, but there is an aspect of them that's also in the mouth. So that even that the bane light is coming out of the nose, too. Nimsa sheyesh b'peh arba oros shnayim min ha'ozim v'shnayim min ha'chotim. That's interesting. He says there's right side, left side ear, right side, left side nose. V'lam b'chutzruchuch arba oros. So what you need 4 for? Now the Rabbi is going to explain like this. Sheba oros ha'peh, this chadesh gan in the kalim. This is where you're going to see this chadesh means renewal of the concept of kalim. Both in Sheba'oras Apeh Yesh Shtei Bechinos, in the mouth there are 2 different aspects. Shechim Bechinos or Bechinos Kli. So in the mouth, and like I said before, this according to the Shefa and the Shem and Sason over there, he's saying that it actually happens outside of the mouth when they actually start coming out. In the mouth, it still remains like they're not doing anything. But once they go out, they start banging against each other. So each of these 2 things get divided into 2. Which are what? Shehem or Penimi or Makif. So you have the lights of the ocean, that's going to be 2. And you're going to have the lights of the Chotem, which will be 2. Now we're going to talk about something else. The kli itself that's going to be composed. He's giving us, I guess this is a heads up. He's giving a hakdama. So he says the shnei chablag, but betinius a kli. There's going to turn out to be an inside of the kli. Chitzonius a kli. There's 2 of them. Let's say the 2. Let me move it over here. Let me get this so I can see it.
The 2 he means for the one for the oizen and one for the chaytim.
Well, let's just say, let's read it out. V'harei shtayim shehem arba. There are 2. There's a makif and there's a panimi. But since they're coming from different places, one's coming from the ozen. Is that what you said? The other one's coming from the chotem. So that's going to make 4. There'll be 2 of each. So kila el. Because I can explain it out. It's just a little riches here. So he's going to explain it out. He says le'el. Nisbar shema'ozin yamim yotza or makiv, ba'ozin small yotza or penimi, v'chein b'chotim yamin. You have the chotim yamin, the right nostril, yotza or makiv, chotim small yotza or penimi. That makes 4. Amnam calls zera b'chu ba'oris ha'ozin, v'chachotim sheyatzim ha'ozin v'chachotim atzman. These are lights which we were talking about, which come from the ears and the nose, respectively, themselves. Now, but now we're not talking about the ozin and the chotem. We're talking about the mouth. That has some concept of kalim here. Later on, we're going to get to talk about the difference in the way that they're actually going to shine. So he said, so now he says like this, the rule goes like this, that if you're looking about the cheshivus of the light, in other words, what's the highest quality light, which the question is, what does light mean anyway, because the light is very transparent. It's like the more nothing it is, the higher it is. So he said, small, then the kalim are going to come from the small. Let's read it again. The oros are, because they're the highest level between the oros and the kalim. Understand that the or comes from a higher place that fits into a keli. But kalim yotzim mitzad small. V'yitzias ha'oros atzman mischalik ba'ofen zeh. Now let's see how this goes now, because we're going to have to discuss this. He says, Shebebechinas ozen yamen amizgala b'peh. So now you have the light of the right ear being revealed in the mouth. Yatsa oros makifim. So here we see the concept of oros makifim. Umachotim yamim mizgala b'peh. Yatsa oros benimim. So now we have right, left. Shechayber bechinas ozen guvoho yosem b'drekas achotim. So it's higher than the level of the chotim. So this is how the kalim become revealed. Ozen small. Let's go a little slower here. From the concept of the left ear, now we had 2 different lights, and not to get mixed up in the different words that he's using. He's going to talk about the kitzonius, and he's going to talk about the penimius. That's not the same thing as the makif and the penimi. So let's go back where he said again. Ki bebechinas ozen small misgala bepeh, which is reading the nisgala chitzonis hakli. It's not talking about the kli is also a light, but it's a more physical light. So he said bebechinas chotim small nisgala bepeh, which winds up in the mouth, nisgala penimius hakli. So from one place on the right side, which is the more chashuv part, you're going to get he says you're going to get the chitzonius hakli. And from the nose, on the left side too, you're going to get the penimius of the kli. Now let's just talk about the kli. We're not talking about the lights. In the lights, we have a makif and a penimi. Over here, we're talking about the kli. The kli is going to have a kitzonius and a penimius. Just imagine, I don't know if he has a drawing. He has drawings in the back of this, which could be helpful, but not for everything. So I hadn't really looked at it that carefully. Let's look at the kli. I imagine it as like a ball or a circle. And the circle is like a balloon, let's say, something like that, a ball. And the ball has an inside of it, and it has an outside of it. So the half of the wall of the kli, of the penimius of kli, who penimius of kli. But then you split that wall of the ball into 2. So then the outside of the ball, that's called the chitzonius of the kli. Hu chitzonius of kli. So here's how the matches go. The dolphin on the inside, that is the inside of the ball, using that metaphor, na'asa kli l'or panimi. So it becomes a kli. The or panimi goes into the inside of the ball. It's panimi. So therefore it goes to the panimius part, the panimi part of the wall. Ki ora panimi nimsa betocha kli. That's the rule. That's what panimi means. V'nogeya b'doifen the panimi, and it actually is up against, or touches the inside wall. V'chetzi dofen achitza. Now let's look at the other half. So we're splitting the wall of the kli into 2. So the outside half, the other half of the kli, naasa kli laor hamakif. It's not going to become a kli for the or hamakif. Ki ha'or hamakif, whom makif is called svivus kli, because it's an outside element to begin with. Mebechutz, it's outside of it. It's shining on the kli from the outside. Let's say another way is that the panimi, the light of panimi, is shining from into the kli from the inside. For the chain or hamakiv ma'ozen yamin. So therefore, let's look like this. The or hamakiv that comes from the right ear, the b'bechina chitzonis hakli yatsa ma'ozen small. There also this. Let me read this again. The chain yatsa or hamakiv ma'ozen yamin. The b'bechina chitzonis hakli yatsa ma'ozen small. It comes from the left. So the chitzonis, achsonis of the kli comes from the left ear, and he says yatsa or hamakiv, and the or makif goes from the right ear. And the inside of the kli comes from the left ear. The outside of the kli comes from the left ear. Now, I didn't.
What does it mean, a kli for an or makif?
Now, where is exactly? Well, this is a little complicated, and I really didn't think he was going to say this here, but he is saying it. Let me hear your question again.
He's saying that the outside of the kli, the bechina chitzoni of the kli, is the kli for the or makif.
That's what he said before. And the inside of the kli is the part of the kli which is for the or panimi, right?
Right. So I'm just in visualizing, what does it mean to be a kli for the or makif? Isn't like the makif like kind of like drawn toward, I don't know, it's like it's a glow that's around the keli, but it doesn't need a kli. At least I would think that it's not like a kli. Like what?
Okay, so what we talk.
The kli is like containing something. Over here, the bechina chitzoni of the kli is really just preventing the or makif from going inside.
Okay, that could be true. So maybe we're going to talk about that.
So and just like, what's the kli aspect of that?
He just making a rule here. He's telling you that you're going to make kalim here. You're going to make kalim for the or makif and the or panimi. So when they strike together, they produce a third element, which is called a kli. And this kli has part that since the makif has to go somewhere, it goes on the outside. And since the panimi has to go somewhere, it goes on the inside. So the inside light is going to be by the panimius of the kli, and the outside light is going to be around the makif of the kli, around the chitzonius of the kli. That's why I'm thinking, but I'm getting a little confused here. So let's go over here where the word is key. So he says the key, we could go up one more to, let's go up to, there's two chetzis in a row. So he said, v'chetzi dofen achitzon shel hakli, hu chitzonius hakli. V'chetzi adofen the benimi na'asa kli l'or ha-benimi. So they match up that way. Then he says like this, and this is a part that I really wasn't ready for, and let's see how it goes. Ki or ha-benimi nimsa b'toch ha-kli. So it comes out that the or panimi is going to be inside of the kli. V'nogea b'dofen the benimi, and it will strike, or not strike, but touches, it borders, bounds, or what's the right way, the inside of the kli. Now he says this is the part I didn't quite follow. V'chetzi dofen achitzon, the half of the wall that's on the outside, night's a kli l'or hamakiv. It's going to be a kli for the or hamakiv. Okay, still haven't got the part where I didn't understand. Ki ha'or hamakiv hum makiv as called svivus a kli mebechutz. V'lechein yatsa or hamakiv ma'ozen yomim. Okay, here's where it is. Now the makiv comes out of the right ear. The b'bechina chitzonis hakli yatsa ma'ozen small. So he says it's interesting. It doesn't go the way that I would have thought. He says the v'lechein yatsa or hamakiv ma'ozen yomim. So let's take the right ear, right? So the right ear is going to produce the makiv, the or, which is the makiv. Now going to the kli now, yatsa ma'ozen small. So from the right ear you get the or. From the left ear you get the kli. You get the kli, the chitzonis of the kli, and the panemius of and the makif of the. Let me say it again. The makif of the or comes out of the right ear, and we had already said that it's related to the chitzonis of the kli. And then he says, and this is what he's going to do. Let me just try to set it right. He wants to say that there's a certain aspect that's created out of the ears. One aspect comes out of the right ear, one aspect comes out of the left ear. In the case of the right ear, what's going to come out is the or makif. When you go to the left ear, now he's going to say ubapachinas kitzonius a kli. Now we're talking about the kli now. Yatzim ozen small. So from the ozen level, you're going to get a inside of you're going to get the makif or, and you're going to get the chitzonius of the kli. Now, is that understandable? Did I explain that well enough?
He's saying it's like swapped out, like they're coming, like the kli of makif comes from the of Panimi.
Oh, no. So what he's going to do is say like this. There's a certain level that comes out of the ears. So the ears really make the ixonius of the kli, and the or of the makif are going to come out of the ears. Then he's going to come to the nose, which is going to appear in the mouth also. And that's going to make the panemius of the kli, and we're going to see how that goes. So from the right nostril is going to become the or panemi, and from the left nostril is going to become the panemius of the kli. I think that's what he's saying. It has this always a little complicated every time you come. Kevin shall kli tzarek lihiyos b'makom ha'or, so that the kli has to be in the same place that the light comes from. Kedei shahor yair b'kli, so that they would line up. So we have a kli that comes out from the ear level. That's the left ear. And we have a makif, which is an or, which is coming out of the right ear, and the two of them are going to match up because they're the ear level. Let's say call them the ear level. Now he says, now let's talk about the or panimi yatzim echotim yamin. So the light of the panemius stick of the light always comes out of the right side. Genegnem yatzim panemius of kli, and from them, corresponding to them, is going to come out the panemius of the kli. That comes from the left nostril. So in this sense, you say like this is also in regards to male and female. This is that normally that the thinking is like this. The male is going to be the right side. It's going to be the makif. So how that works exactly is later on down the line. Is going to be the right side. And the receptacle is going to be from the left side. So looking at it another way, it says that you have an or makif and an or panimi. So the or makif is going to come, let's say, of the outside of the clear. So you have an or makif and an or panimi that's coming out of the ears. They're going to be dealing with the outside of the kli. One is going to be a makif to the kli, and the other one's going to be the outside of the kli. Then you go down to the nose level, you're going to get a different kind of combination, which is the same thing. The right side of the nostril is going to make the or panimi, and the left side of the nostril, the left nostril, is going to make the kli of the panemius of the kli. The panemi kli of the kli. I guess you said the panemius of the kli. It's okay. Is that making sense?
I think so.
Okay, so it's just instead of looking at it like we're mixing and matching things, we're really looking at it in terms of the ear level. The ear level is chitzonius and makif. The nose level is going to be panemius of the kli and the or panemi. That's just the two different levels. That's how they're going to do it. Which means what? Again, he says the makif is the stronger element, and so therefore it's going to come from the ears, and the panemi is the weaker element, and it's going to come from the nose because the nose is further down. That's basically what he says. Now we have two different ideas here. Shehem makif panimi, v'shtei bechinus kalim. There are also two different types of kalim, or two aspects of the kalim, which are the kitzonius of the kli and the panemius of the kli. V'hata havo navo. Now we're going to come levayer divrei harav. Now we have that idea, and all you need to know from this is that the outside of the kli and the makif that go together come from the ozen level, and the inside of the kli and the or inside of the or inside of it is going to come from the nose level. Okay, so that's number that is it there, and we're basically out of time. I could read number Yud Dalet also. Yud Dalet is a beginning of a new idea. So maybe we'll leave that.
You want to just read the brackets on top?
Why not? Where is that? Which brackets? Oh, you mean the brackets? Yizboyer shebepen is galo hadalo dolofim shehem bechotem. Let's see. I didn't have it, so you could see it again. Yizboyer bepen. So yizboyer that in the mouth this Galoch Adalat Alafim Shehem Bechotem. Remember we said before that there is a Dalad hidden inside of the nose. First we said that the Vav is hidden inside the nose. And we said this other idea that because of it's called the Tamim Emseim. Which of the Tamim Emseim? There's the Pesach and what is it called? The Makif. So one of them, there are two lines actually. One of them is a vertical line and the other one is a horizontal line. So as a result of that, you can see, because that's what's going on. In other words, there are divisions. Let's say they make some kind of divisions, especially the horizontal, or well, whichever way you're reading it. Both of them are divisions, kind of. So therefore, you can see 6 separate sections within the vav that appears in the nose, because it's the place where you have the makif and the psak. And as a result of that, you can see in those sections, it sections up, and you can see alafim in there. Although we know that from the ears, there's also a dalet there. But the dalet is not revealed in the nose. Instead, that's what he's saying here. The dalet is going to be revealed in the mouth. And when we get to that, we're going to see that there are 4 alafim in that. So I call it, I don't know what the significance of the aleph is right now. If you ever have extra time and you want to learn the Zohar, the beginning of the Zohar goes through all the 22 letters. And it really asks the question, why didn't the Torah begin with the letter Aleph? Why did it begin with the letter Beis? So in order to answer that question, they start with the Zohar starts with the letter Tov. And it says, what's wrong? Tov has got some great stuff about it, but then he has certain pasukim that he said they can't be the beginning of everything because of the certain problems that exist in all of the letters until you get to Bet. The Bet is really the base kibble. It's really idea. I don't know. I don't remember the Gemara that well. But he goes through all the letters there, and he says what's going on there. So here we have the Aleph, the question about the Aleph. Why wasn't Aleph the first letter of the Torah? Why did it begin with a Beit? So that's it. That's the shir. You do a great job. Thank you so much for learning with me.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Kol tov.